Hello and welcome to New World Comics Podcast. I am Buck Berlin, owner-operator of this fine establishment. With me, as always, is Stephanie Cerny.
Hey.
And joined with us is the voice of God, Brad Reed from Nerdstammin fame.
Blessed be.
Yeah, you all can check out Nerdstammin everywhere you can find the New World podcast on Speaker, Stitcher, Streecher, where do we find
what? Those are all wrong.
Yeah.
All wrong.
You know.
Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker,
Streaker.
iTunes, YouTube.
Follow Streakers.
Yeah.
No, okay, no, don't follow Streakers. Bad idea. Follow the New World Comics podcast, but not Streak. All right, Stitcher.
Yeah.
SoundClouds.
No, not the SoundCloud.
Oh, well, we don't like them anyway.
We can work on that one.
They
though.
tried to kill my father.
Yeah.
Then they came after
Spreaker,
me.
Stitcher, Spotify.
Yeah.
iTunes, YouTube,
Facebook.
There's one other out there, I think. Google Play.
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
Oh my God, we need to end on MySpace.
I went back in time and made us a MySpace account.
Oh my God. Strong opening. Joined with us this week is my good friend Than Medlam.
Yay, he's my friend too.
Oh, well.
That's right.
I mean, I hope so.
Mine's louder.
Whatever.
I got nothing. So Than, we always kick this off with the who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Than Medlam, and I do lots of stuff, most of it music. So I teach voice and guitar at the Academy of Contemporary Music at the University of Central Oklahoma, also known as ACM at UCO. Mm-hmm. And then I do a lot of guitar repair, and I build guitars, and then I perform pretty widely as well.
That sounds super fancy.
Right? It's not as glamorous as it sounds.
Yeah, so I found out the musician repairing thing. Fancy name. Luthier.
Yeah.
You're a luthier.
Right.
Yeah.
Fancy.
It's like Lex Luthor, but not.
What?
Maybe more like Luthier Vandross, but.
Brad Cage was, we were talking about you one day, and I was like, yeah, so he's a luthier. And he did everyone eventually becomes a Lutheran. I was like, no.
It finally got to me.
Yeah. It was no, that's a different thing. And then we had a good laugh.
That's where everyone ends up?
Yeah, well,
Lutheranism?
Talk to Brad about it. It's a whole thing. It's hilarious. But, yeah. No, because he just thought that I misspoke.
Oh. Well.
And I was like, no, it's the musician thing. He goes, oh, that's right.
So you have a fancy Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. Medlam Guitar Works is me on Instagram, and it's just usually the stuff that I'm working on at the time. So lots of guitars, if you like guitars.
So people need to go check that out.
You should,
or else.
Yeah, or else.
Right.
Or else what, I don't know, but
Something.
You'll miss some cool guitars.
Yeah.
Yes. So, how's this? Do you want to talk about comics first, or do you want to talk about the music stuff first?
I mean, I'm down to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean, it's a comic shop.
How's this? Let's talk about the music stuff first, and then we can go on and on about comics. But the music stuff, I have some stuff that I've been wanting to ask you for a while. It's just, but it'd be the that never came up in conversation, or I forgot to ask you because we got talking about something else.
Yeah,
Probably comics.
probably.
Typically, or as kids, because but before we delve into anything, Than is absolutely one of the most amazing parents I've ever met. There are three parents that come to mind, like when I think the best kids that have come into the store. Your kids are definitely on that short list.
Can I get that like in writing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
give it to my kids.
There are things
are they gonna tear it up or eat it? Yeah. Probably.
No,
they're kids.
There are things that you've said. It's that is. A parental move that I'm going to steal whenever the time comes for me to.
All right.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah, that's genius. That is some great parental. Yeah.
I mean, could we just put you together with the Cages and make super parents?
Well, I'm saying, Dave Mears. The things that he's come up with is, oh my God, let's figure this out. But anyway, let's talk music real quick. So you you have your band, you teach, you do all the repairs. So there's very little that you can't do, really.
I mean, I would say there's a lot of stuff I can't do.
No, well, you'd be lying. So, but you know, let's start with the voice thing. So, when someone signs up for your class, like, do you screen them, or do they just kind of go in and you're like, all right, so.
Yeah, mostly. I mean, the way our enrollment system works is mostly they just come in.
Okay.
So, you know, they go in and enroll, and I'm on the list of voice teachers, and either they pick me or they get stuck with me. One of the two.
Now, do you when they go in and try something, do you find a style that would fit them best, or do you try to, or do they have like, this is what I want to do, and then you try to get them to that level?
So that's the interesting thing about what we do at ACM, is that since we're working with, you know, contemporary music and pop music, there's no standard repertoire. There's not necessarily an accepted pedagogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of approach it like my goal is to help facilitate my students to do whatever they're trying to do in the most efficient, healthy, and skilled way possible.
Okay, so like if I came to you and I was like, I want to sound like Freddie Mercury, and you wouldn't do no, you're more of a Louis Armstrong, or would you like?
No, I'd never do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, if that's what you want to try to do, we're going to start out working toward that. Now, if you're, you know, pretty far away from that, then, you know, I'm still going to be setting up things to try to move you in that direction, right? Like try to up your skill set to something like that, because I don't want to. I'm not interested in changing the character of the people that I'm working with,
right?
You know, and it's art, right?
Yeah,
and you can't tell somebody else what their artistic vision is.
Well, what if they went in with no idea what they wanted, and they're like, just teach me how to sing better? Would you do okay, well, here's where I think you should go, or would you just try to do, here's the broad horizon, pick a point?
Right. So I'm usually gonna start with what are you into?
Okay.
Right. Like if you were singing right now, what would you be singing? Okay, let's start with that.
So I'd be completely terrible, because it'd be I'm into old blues and Britney Spears. Yeah. So, yeah. So, you know, because, you know, my taste runs the gamut. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then I try to do a little steering, especially if I can tell that maybe somebody's voice or skill level isn't really suited for what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then I might try to maneuver them a little bit, but it takes time to know somebody too. I'm not gonna go into that like, you know, the first or second lesson.
Right. Yeah. But that's what I meant over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean like, no, kid, you're a Sinatra, or you're out of this business.
Right.
Yeah. No. Okay. Let's see. Something that I always ask the teachers, which, you know, I feel that this is the safe space. Are there unteachable people?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, okay. I think that if a person were to be unteachable, it's by their own choice. I don't think anybody is beyond learning or gaining skills. I think you can choose to not.
Okay.
But I think you can choose to as well.
No, I get it. No, well, because I mean, there's the naturally talented, and then there's the people that really have to work at it. You know, like there are people that can paint very well naturally, or, as Martindale says, painting's also a skill.
Yeah.
You know, like it's that mix those two colors together, you get this smudge here. There's your
and I'm as a teacher, I'm pretty anti talent. I don't like to talk about talent.
Right.
I feel like a lot of the time it's kind of a myth, and it's a cop out people use to make themselves feel okay with not getting where they wanted to get, maybe, like, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh, well, you're obviously better than me because you were born with a superpower. And it's like, that's not it. You know, I mean, everybody I know that's better than me worked harder than me at some point. And I think if you can admit that, then you just know you have to work some more. You know?
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Not last awful question, but the other thing that I like to ask the people who teach, what's the worst thing that people do consistently? You know, like you had mentioned once that, you know, at one point all the girls that were coming to your class were starting off trying to do like the Zoe Deschanel, like
the weird pronunciation thing.
Yeah,
and that's a thing. I mean, for me as a music teacher, the worst thing that students do is not practice, because that's just excruciating. Like to work with somebody for half an hour on something, right, and then say, okay, you know, go off, you know, next week come in, and we can, you know, progress on this and move forward. And when you find yourself just going over the same stuff like week over week, that is brutal.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You're investing so much into them and they're not investing anything back.
Right. And then you have to, you know, at some point you have to get kind of stern and dispel the illusion that you're going to get anywhere in music or anything else if you're not planning on applying yourself. I mean, that's
fair enough. Huh. Okay, but I mean, you know, other than, you know, the them not applying themselves, is there anything that they, you know, come in like that? You know, I know some girls like to just like touch their ear while they're singing. Like,
okay, so yeah, I've got some pet peeves like that.
That's what I mean. Like what's just something that you're not ever going to count off or discount someone from, but it's the really you're doing that,
right? The sticking the finger in the ear thing kind of bugs me.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a quiet room and somebody's sticking their finger, you know, hey man, you can hear yourself. There's no other noise going on. I mean,
Right.
I can kind of understand it if there's like a band happening, but you know, but we're all alone here. Sticking your finger in your ear is not going to help you tune better. So there's that, and then for me, it's singing with an obviously made up voice. Right, like if you're, you know, a Midwestern American and you show up and like you sound like a Midwestern American, and then you start singing and you're like doing an Amy Winehouse impression.
Gotcha.
I'm like, that's not your real voice. I'm sorry. You know?
Interesting. I mean, what about like the people that put on the full country twang? Like, or do you see that as like them falling into a style?
I don't see that happen very much. Anybody that I have with a country twang sounds pretty darn country when they talk.
Okay.
Too. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's mostly it's like, you know, trying to sound like Halsey or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't.
No, you know, this is these are the things that I've been meaning to ask you for years. And it's just okay, fascinating. That's good to know.
Yeah. But we all go through it too. I mean, when I was 19, you know, 17 to 19, I did everything in my power to sound as much like Eddie Vedder as humanly possible. I mean, we all go through it in some way or another.
See, Kira just told me that I was awful at singing and that I should just stop. So all right, we'll just back off on that. It's awful. You know. Yeah, get me really drunk. I'll sing for you.
Sweet.
Very, very seldom after. Yeah, or before, I should say. But interesting. Okay, so musically, what do you listen to? Like, you know.
I mean, I listen to all kinds of stuff. Here lately, I've been listening to a bunch of Greg Howe. He's kind of a shred guitar guy, mostly from the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I like a lot of soul jazz stuff. I like a lot of rock and roll. I mean. That's such a hard question.
How's this? What is your least favorite type of music?
I got nothing.
So, like for me, back when warehouse music was like the go-to place, or CD warehouse, if you know, like you used to have two different types of people, you know, warehouse music or CD warehouse, and you know, or you knew a really good indie place, but I would go and like. I could find anything great that I would love out of any section except for world music.
Okay.
And it was just that I never was able to pull anything out of there that I was like, yeah, this is my new jam. Like, let's go do this.
Okay, I guess for me that might be like the maybe the singers and standards area.
Okay.
You know, like Rod Stewart sings the American Songbook.
Right.
Man, I can't do it.
Interesting.
I can't dig on that.
I have this weird affinity for you know, covers and things like that.
Yeah.
It's stupid. I have a huge. As soon as I found out that it existed, Elvis and Frank Sinatra, anytime they, you know, felt like it, they just let's go record this song.
Right.
I heard someone, you know, so like I have Elvis singing Old MacDonald, like, because he was like, I feel like singing that today.
Yeah, and see, I love Sinatra, and see that's why I'm always hesitant to say I don't like a genre because there's something good in like
in almost
every
everything.
genre, you know. And so I can't just write anything off, but.
Yeah, I mean that's why you accept my love of Britney Spears and the
Sure.
Yeah, which for those that are watching, Thana actually played my wedding. The whole thing stopped when he started "Baby One More Time."
Solo acoustic.
Yeah, solo
Baby One More
acoustic.
Time.
It was, yeah, to this day my favorite performance. It was
Thanks.
phenomenal. All right, last music question, and then we'll move into the comics and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was looking at all these pop songs that I really really liked, and and I usually start off with that's terrible, but I love it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Turns out most of them are written by Max Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who, when he started doing all the stuff, like he started writing a lot of the big 90s hits, like he did Baby One More Time, I Want It That Way, and most of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So anyone who was like, one's better than the other,
Right,
same damn songs.
and didn't he kind of kick off the like pop chicks that rock movement?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did all that.
Yeah,
but like he wrote I Want It That Way, and he didn't understand what the hell it meant. And like Hit Me Baby One More Time was him trying to do Call Me Baby One More Time.
Really?
Yeah. And he didn't get into that. But
no.
what do you think about the people who set out just to make the pop hits? Like, do you think that there's validity in that, or do you think that it's like people are just throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks?
I mean, I think they make a lot more money than I do.
Well,
but I mean, there is a system to it, and there's an art and a craft. Both to it. I mean, you know, the good ones, they end up writing a whole lot of freaking songs because they're good at it,
Yeah, like I mean, this guy is still doing like Taylor Swift, Katy Perry, and all that. Yeah. So it was the. Do you see him as like, he's the Walmart of music, like he's just putting out a thing, or like do you see an artistry in that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a kind of artistry in it, right? I mean, you have to. Yeah. I think you gotta draw a line between like what you might call art music and what you might call pop music,
definitely.
Right? Like he's not trying to make any great artistic statement, but it's still. I mean, you still got to be a musician to do what he's doing,
right? And not to say that pop music can't be art,
right?
Like hell, look at half of what the Beatles did,
right? I mean, pop art is literally a thing,
right?
So, yeah.
So, but yeah, okay, interesting. Because I mean, like I found out that when Justin Bieber came on the scene, there was an actual mathematical formula called baby per minute in writing a song like that.
Yeah,
and it was oh my god, and whenever that became public, like it didn't get used as often or something like that.
Right.
It was this is fascinating.
Right, or like when Aerosmith had like Crazy and Amazing and Crying, and they all sound exactly the same, and they all happen to be written by the same dude.
Yeah,
who isn't in Aerosmith.
Right, but it was there's that thing. Yeah,
right.
So there's the definite formula to it, and yeah. So yeah, anytime someone's like, I don't listen to pop music. Aerosmith is and it's look at all your favorite people, look at who's writing your songs.
Oh yeah,
and you'll be floored that Taylor Swift writes most of her music, but her hits are not her.
No,
not at all.
No, and I was talking to somebody else about this yesterday about this weird like paradox of quote unquote cover tunes, right? It's like let's say Pink, right? Like Pink sings a song that somebody else obviously wrote. Mm-hmm. And I mean, really, all she did was like show up and sing it, right? Good for her; she's a great singer, right? Yeah. But then, like, if somebody sings the same song at the bar down the street, they have no artistic integrity because they're doing a cover tune, and it's like, wait, but what did she do in the first place?
Well, and that's what I have no qualms with it. I like cover songs, all this, and Tom and I up here had talked about it, like our disdain for the breathy cover tunes.
Oh yeah,
they're just terrible. Yeah, but like Postmodern Jukebox, half their stuff is like, oh, that's a really intriguing thing, and then half it's the that's incredibly trite. Like, why,
Yeah. And without like dogging anything anybody does, a lot of that kind of seems to me, like trite and kind of a musical costume, right?
Yes.
It's like tee-hee, this is what, and then but I'm not like being moved in any way by
I
that.
mean, there was a Ariana Grande song that they did that I had heard that first, and then I heard like hers, and it was like, ooh, I think I like theirs better. Like that,
Sure.
that almost gave some more meaning to the song, whatever they were trying to get out of a pop song.
Right.
But it was I really dig what they did there.
Yeah, it's like pop punk covers is like almost its own genre now, right?
And do you remember like when those CDs came out?
Oh yeah,
like those were like a special type of thing,
right?
When those pop punk covers came out,
right? And now there's bands that it seems like
that's all they do.
That's their thing,
right? Well, I think it's because most of the pop punk people are like, okay, so we've survived the pop punk holocaust or apocalypse. Whoops,
right?
We should pull that one out.
Yeah,
the apocalypse, and this is what we have left.
Yeah, but there are jazz guys that do it too. I mean, there are plenty of jazz dudes out there that are, like come up with self-consciously overcomplicated versions of pop tunes.
Yeah, which actually that brings up a good point. Your performances, like you are absolutely one of the best live musicians I've seen.
Oh, thanks, man.
And I mean. Like I don't get out of the house often. You know this, but anytime that I can, I'll go see your band. You know, yeah. So anytime y'all see Equilibrium pop up, hop on out, go see it.
Please do. January 12th at the UCO Jazz Lab.
Yeah, and anytime that there's alcohol involved, without fail, there's a drunk guy will go up on stage. Or right in front of the stage, start dancing and emulating whatever you're playing.
Right.
The best is whenever you bring out the conch shell.
Yeah.
Because you play a damn conch shell. Like, it's not here's like a flute that's jammed in. It looks like, no, you're playing an actual shell.
And I never thought about what that looked like until I started doing it a lot in public.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I was just trying to play a shell, right? But it looks a little weird. And
I mean, for those watching, it's because it's a whole lot of like this and then like
right, because you got to hold the shell,
yeah,
and then the pitch is controlled with how far your hand is in the shell, so you're just like hanging out doing, and it's it gets misinterpreted a lot, and I get made uncomfortable a lot.
Well, because
people talk about it.
Well, because whoever's emulating, like without fail, their mouth is just open, like and they're like, guy, listen, you're the dude, bro, that would be so uncomfortable. Yeah. But in the moment,
right.
Yeah. But I've seen you play 5, 6 times, 7, maybe once I didn't see that. It was just oh God. Yeah. So, but anytime you all get a chance to go out and see him play, it's phenomenal. Yeah. So
thanks. I promise we don't suck.
Yes, I promise it too. All right. Well, let's break into comic book stuff because that's more or less why people, watch this thing. That
makes sense. It's in a comic shop.
So good looking.
Well, that's why I watch.
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure that just got cut out anyway. Yeah, all the people that don't watch the video are like, "Thank God I'm just listening." I don't know what actually just happened. So, Than, what got you into comics?
My mom.
Yeah?
My mom got me into comics. She read lots of Legion of Superheroes when she was a kid.
How cool.
And so she almost learned to read from comics. She was getting me comics when I was like 4 and 5 years old. So
that is awesome.
I've been reading comics a long time.
That is super awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say it, like, if you're a Legion of Superheroes fan, everything that could go wrong in reading a comic series has.
Yeah.
Like, it's been rebooted. They've renamed characters. They've killed off characters. And oh no, look, they're back. Here, we're going to change things midline. Look, we destroyed the Earth. Oh, nope, here's another Earth. Here's the thing. And this is before comics, comic series got perpetually rebooted. Like, they didn't have their own title for years.
Yeah.
Because, like, it was always a backup in a Superman book, if you were lucky.
Right.
You know, and just following the stories, they're amazing. Like
they are, and they dealt with some kind of deep stuff, you know, like like Triplicate Girl, right? She can split into 3, and then one of them dies.
Yeah.
So then she's duo damsel from then on. But like, can you imagine like a third of yourself dying?
Right.
That's freaking heavy, man.
Yeah. And then dealt less heavily was when Lightning Lad lost his arm by trying to shock Space Moby Dick. But still, dealt with loss. But
Wildfire, like giving himself up to save the team.
Right,
you know?
yeah. And this is, all that's happened like in the 60s.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't,
Yeah, one of my favorite, the last time I was up at my parents' house, my mom hooked me up with all of the like digest collections that she used to pick me up at the grocery store. And there's some great stories in there, but one that I remembered really well was the Ghost of Pharaoh Lad.
Oh,
you know that story?
Oh, of course.
And it's deep, right? And then like you think it's a ghost, and then no way it's a ghost, right? And then I mean, I guess spoiler alert, but at the end, like the L on his ring has been turned. It was like, oh man, what if it was Pharaoh Lad?
Well, and then when you find out who Lightning Lad and Saturn Girl's kid is, like it's the that is so messed up. Yeah. But, so, Legion, I honestly didn't read Legion until I got a job here.
Right on.
Because, I knew everything Marvel, DC, like, any of that stuff. Andy was kind of iffy because, I didn't really know too much when I first started here.
Yeah.
But Legion was always that section of comics that didn't really ever matter because DC at the time didn't ever use them.
Yeah.
So why would I care?
Right.
And then Mark Waid started writing the run, and I jumped in kind of late, but I played catch up. Like I got into, I think issue 11 or 12 had just come out. Read that, and like that night, like I had just recently been given the key to the store, right? So like I was like, oh, I'm big time.
Yeah.
So, and as I have it to this day, if you work here, then anything that's not shrink wrapped, you can read for free. Please, no more.
Right. Yeah.
So I read up to that point, and I was like, oh my God, I need more Legion. Like this is my new favorite thing. So I got up here and I went to the back issues. And knowing that Legion jumps around and got canceled and did all the, canceled, restarted, changed teams, did all this stuff, I had no idea where to start. So I went over to the Legion hardcovers, found the earliest one, which was volume 2, and I broke the shrink wrap and was like, I'm buying this. Let's get some more Legion. The first Silver Age Legion story that I read was the introduction of the Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
that story is so amazing.
That is probably my second favorite comic of all time.
And I love how like kind of prickish the actual Legion is.
Oh yeah,
in that story.
Yeah, because every story up until then, they're the most accepting, loving group you'll ever like. It's the man, dial it back there, you hippies.
Yeah,
like
unless your power's lame, apparently.
Yeah, and then
like,
it's Stone Boy, Fire Boy. We don't have any use for anyone who spits fire.
Right, the dude that could tune into any frequency with his ears.
Yeah,
right. You guys couldn't come up with a use for that. They're like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. So they kick out all these people, and then lo and behold, oh look, all of them are super useful when they work with a team. Yeah. But yeah, so I read all of those, and they're 8-page stories. 10-page stories at most, and reading it, like just surface level, so much of it is, well, I'm going to go over there and pick up a chair and then hit a guy with it and do all this. But when you read all of it and look, it's they only had 8 pages to tell like 2 trades worth of stories.
Yeah.
Like here's 16 issues worth of comic in 8 pages.
Yeah.
Here you go. And that's how Legion was done. So yeah. So anytime someone says, yeah, I got started on comics with Legion, it's the, yes, you did. You are you're more of a comic fan than I am. Like, I mean, so yeah, no matter what, you're going to love comics always.
Yeah.
So
you can't not.
Interesting. What else did you read way back then?
Lots of Spider-Man and the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a ton of those digests, right? And they were it was like just DC Comics Digest, I think is what they were called.
Yeah.
And you had usually like 5 or 6 stories in every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And there was Neil Adams Batman stuff, Neil Adams Spectre stuff,
Yeah.
classic Superman, Superboy, Legion of Superheroes, and then you'd get like weird random stuff too, like Mike Grell Amethyst and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
or like you get like 3 really innocuous stories from the 60s, and then all of a sudden like people are getting torn apart in Amethyst and Gem World. You're like, what am I reading?
Yeah, well, and it's really cool about like those versus like when I was starting out in comics, we got the Overflow 3-packs, like multi-pack comics that were like, hey, these didn't sell, kid. Here you go.
Right,
they're cheap.
right. Bunch
But
of
they're-
Whitman and stuff.
Yeah.
Gold Key.
But honestly, they're not too dissimilar because it was like when DC was putting that together, half of it would be definite quality, and then others were we have that laying around, maybe it'll help sales.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing, and kids these days don't really necessarily get that. It's the if anything they get a story that's tailored to them that's poorly done, or they get like some of the best stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just kind of weird.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a completely different world. I mean, where I grew up, Hutchinson, Kansas, there was no comic shop or anything like
Right.
that. I mean, if you wanted to read comics, it was whatever you could find at the gas station and the grocery
Yeah.
store.
Yep.
Or subscriptions.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. So what do you read now?
What do I read now? I mean, I'm way into the Hellboy stuff. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
And then I fell off. I was reading the Scott Snyder and Capullo Batman stuff, but I kind of fell off after Rebirth. So I feel like I need to catch back up.
You
because,
really do.
Because I really dig Tom King and Michael Janin. The Grayson series was one of my favorite books of the last several years.
Which it really shouldn't have. Like, I mean, I remember because you and I were
it's
reading.
a good series.
Well, right, but like the premise that kicked it off was that Nightwing was on camera in front of the entire world, and like
Right.
they hammered home the point that no, anyone that could possibly have a screen in front of them is watching this thing right now. This is the moment. Everyone on Earth who's never even seen a Nightwing now is seeing Nightwing. Oh, look, they took off his mask. And guys, it's Dick Grayson. It's Dick Grayson. He lives in Bloodhaven. Here's his address. Dick Grayson. Here's his guy. No more Nightwing. And then they're like, let's make him a spy.
Right. Right. That would be difficult.
Yeah. And it was man, this is the worst setup ever.
It's a pretty heavy suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tom King was like, well, here you go. And this is so much better than it has any right to be. And now we know, like, oh, Tom King is just that good of a writer.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, oh, my God, like, I was just so mad through most of it with everyone would be like, hey, it's that guy from that time that everyone saw it on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just got the DC app
Yes.
so that I could watch Titans. 'Cause
Yes.
It's freaking amazing. But
Interesting.
So I've been catching up on a bunch of old DC stuff too, like reading some Teen Titans here and there, and
Nice.
and digging through a whole lot of old Batman.
Yeah, if you haven't read the Jeff Johns Teen Titans, that is almost as integral reading for the team as the Wolfman Perez stuff.
Okay.
For the first almost 30 issues, maybe a little bit past that, but yeah like it's that good.
See, Jeff Johns is a 50-50 shot for me. He's a coin toss. Sometimes he's good, and sometimes I feel like I'm reading like somebody playing with action figures.
See, sometimes that's not the worst thing ever. No, I'd say Jeff Johns before the 1 year later jump.
Yeah.
All of that's good.
Okay.
Like his JSA stuff, solid.
Right on.
Like the JSA Hawkman crossover is absolutely one of my favorite multi-part stories in all of comics,
Yeah.
because he set up stuff, kind of when he first started in on JSA, just setting up we can have this classic character come back, or this legacy character step in and fill out all these roles, and check out what I did with this. Look, everything's going to hell. Because like Black Adam joined the team and then turns out turned on everyone to
Go
take
figure.
but at the time he was like, man, look at this character, like he's making strides and he's really trying to be a hero.
Yeah.
And then he turns on everyone to take over his home country.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was wow. It was just so well done. And then then after the 1 year later jump, post Infinite Crisis, a lot of that went downhill.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
What do you think about Titans?
I think it's phenomenal. Yeah, it's just crazy well done. I mean, sometimes I think it gets a little purposelessly violent.
Mm-hmm.
But the character work on it, I think is great. And I'm a Hawk and Dove fan.
Mm-hmm.
I have been since the Carl Kiesel Liefeld miniseries. But it's really hard to find good stories with Hawk and Dove.
Right.
Yes, it is.
It's like I love the characters, but I wish somebody would do something like worth a crap with them.
Yeah.
And I really feel like they have with Titans. Like,
Yeah.
they changed the backstory a lot, but none of the parts that matter, and the essence of the characters is still like really there and really not just well written but well acted.
I've been like really impressed.
Yeah.
Like way more than I thought I was going to be.
Yeah.
Interesting, because like I haven't done the DC app yet, just because I'm waiting for that Young Justice. Just waiting for Young Justice, because but I've heard nothing but bad things about the Titan show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So
Man.
I've been real happy with it.
Yeah.
interesting.
I love
Okay.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
then I trust both of your opinions, so I will. I'll give it the time of day.
You should check it out. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. I mean, whenever I find time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I will make time for Young Justice, because I hate to say it, but it might be better than the Justice League Unlimited stuff. Like Justice League Unlimited is
There's just like such a place in my heart for Justice League Unlimited.
like me too. Like back when working here and playing indoor soccer were like my life.
Yeah.
There were times I would like miss the indoor soccer just so I could watch the latest Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Like it meant that much to me. Like I canceled dates. I like
Dang.
moved things. Yeah.
I mean, Justice League Unlimited was just
Well,
so amazing.
Well, and every week, like that, it wasn't like the internet is now, where like what's coming out.
oh yeah,
Or
you didn't
can-
know. Like
Yeah,
you
it-
had to catch it.
Right.
Yeah,
and the
and-
guest voices on that were
Oh,
great
yeah.
too. Yeah.
And you sit there and watch through the end credits to see what was coming the next week.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh my god, Wildcat's going to be in there.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Roulette's going to do the. Are they going to do the battle royale? Like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this is happening. Oh my god, I think I just saw a star and stripe. Is that Sandman?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so being an obscure character guy, you'll appreciate some of Titans, because like
Really?
one of the main villains they have
Yes.
the nuclear family,
Really.
and they are terrifying. And
well, I
how
mean,
do
they
you
should be, but
yeah,
Yeah.
but I never imagined that like such a cheesy D-list character could come out and just like scare the crap
Oh
out
my
of me.
God.
And they do.
Yeah.
oh my god, yeah. Because I mean, yeah. Talk to me, and I love my Batman, Superman, and all that, but like talk to me about like Z-list characters, and I will give you just the list of.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
Here's who I love. Here's like the. Anymore, half the reason we do superhero school is the all right, so I can throw D-Man in something.
I've had so
Yeah.
many conversations where I really feel like somebody watches what we do at superhero school and they're just like taking all of these ideas and all of these characters that we have, and they're just like, let's make shows
Right.
of all of these crazy characters they do at superhero school, because
So-
all of a sudden they start showing up.
Right. So were you guys fans of Batman Brave and the Bold?
Oh yes,
Yeah, because
'Cause that's
all
another-
of those characters
Right,
started
yeah.
showing up.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like such a goofball because I'll be sitting there watching it with my wife and my kids, and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, oh, oh, Bwana Beast is coming, you know,
Yeah.
and they're like, who? What are you talking about?
Yeah. He
Oh,
was
man.
at superhero school.
I know.
So, selling Kira on Brave and the Bold, because, like, she's Batman the Animated Series to her core.
Yeah.
Like, that's her, you know. And I was like, all right, so there are times that Batman Brave and the Bold is better than that show. And she's like, you shut your mouth right now. I'll set you on fire. I was like, well, here's the Jewel Thief episode that
Right.
Batman the
Yeah.
Animated Series. It's terrible. Look, you know, the kid saved Batman from the Penguin.
Yeah.
Like,
Here you go. Or here's, you know, like the Batman Spectre episode.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god!
like it's just
Yeah.
such a different flavor of
Right, yeah,
Batman.
yeah.
Like you have to appreciate like the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, because he can, like, you still get the feel from you know Diedrich Bader's performance that he could snap at any moment and like
Yeah.
just completely wail on someone. You know, there was one episode where it's we get fascist Batman, where he had like
Right.
is him versus the violinist or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I just got done reading The Caped Crusade. It's basically just a overlook of the history of Batman and, you know, cultural impact and
Yeah.
the people that worked on the different things, and they were talking about the Adam West show, and they said one of the big driving forces of the production on that was that if they ever think we're joking, then the whole deal is sunk. Like it's got to be, you know, no matter how ridiculous we're being, it's got to be serious
Yeah.
all the time, you know. And Adam West nailed that. And then I really thought Diedrich Bader, like, kind of, I mean, Brave and the Bold kind of brought that idea back. You
Yeah.
know, it was never self-consciously campy. It was just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. I mean, speaking of that, like you were involved in the early days of superhero school up
Yeah.
here, and so you brought some of that. Yeah, you were the star of the lowest attended superhero school to date. Yeah.
Was that the Dark Avengers?
No,
or the,
no.
The question.
The question, you know, because the Dark Avengers
Yeah.
one, we started off with like 3 kids, but by the end of it,
Oh, that's right.
Like we packed out to like 40 kids. It
Yeah.
was the where did everyone here show up? Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, the question, like it was the first one of the year, and it had just lightly iced or snowed or something, and we're like, we'll see what happens.
Right.
And it was Aiden and like one other kid. Like one kid
Yeah.
was legitimately there, and then it was
And both of them were like, "Who the crap are you supposed to be?"
yeah.
And
You're-
like we love the question,
Yeah.
you know, like
Your
like
own-
the question
yeah,
is
your-
like the coolest.
He's BA. Yeah.
Yeah.
your own son was like, who? Huh?
I need to get you to make me another one of those masks
Oh, yeah.
because every
Because
time
now we can do it and have it not be like super scary.
Right. Well,
Well.
but like every time Halloween rolls around and like I have to go to something like quickly and I don't have a costume, I always think, man, if I just had
Yeah.
the question
And
mask.
it's just so super
sad.
simple to make too.
Right, yeah.
You know? But yeah, I could totally make one of those for you. Yeah, no problem.
Sweet.
So like another thing too is I think that your Batman really was one of the pivotal points that changed superhero school.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, because before you had come along and showed me all this stuff, everything that we did was cardboard and duct tape and hot glue.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then-
you did this all on your own.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Hey, have you ever looked at this like craft foam stuff?
And we were just like,
here's,
what?
Here's floor mats and here's this." And then you showed me this picture of, all right, so that thing that looks like leather, you know, like worked leather.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, so whatever. You're like, it's foam. All that's this. Here's how you do it. Here's how you heat it. Here's how you do this. You know, you heat this up and it'll hold shape. I was like, all right, I'm sold.
Right.
I'm
And
in.
well, and now you're like making stuff that would be in the tutorials that we looked at then.
Right.
Like you're
Well,
you're pushing things far with that stuff, I think.
oh
I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did great.
So so thank you for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like you changed superhero school.
Yeah, entirely.
I mean,
weird.
like
That's weird
you
to think
did.
Yeah, I mean, there are characters that we could not have done had you not shown me all that stuff.
Well, I'm glad I did.
Yeah, but I mean, to bring it back to the importance of it, like, you know, to me, you are the Batman that I think of when we're doing our stuff up here. 'Cause,
Oh,
you know,
thanks. That's one of the most fun things I think I've ever done. And I've done the Batman thing at like parties, and I don't enjoy it particularly.
yeah.
But I really loved to do in superhero school, and then like when you guys have the sales and stuff. Like,
Well, and I think the difference is like at parties, like everyone has that expectation of, oh, Batman's here to have fun.
Right.
But
Yeah.
like here,
Like
Batman
you're
gets
on.
to be, yeah.
Like you have to be on or something.
But I mean, like you have such an integrity to yourself as is, and that just while you're dressed as Batman, it kind of brings that out more.
Right on. Okay.
And you're talking to the kids about the importance of trying hard and well-being and character and all these things, and see, wow, it's not like he's hammering these things home. He's just talking
like you're Batman.
Yeah.
like you're
like
Batman.
you turn into
and
the
these
character.
kids are like, okay, so if I work really hard,
Yeah, well, and that's what I love about Batman. That's why he's always inspired me. He's just a guy that made up his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it has a lot of money, but
Yeah. And it's like, like we talk in superhero school about like you can make good choices, or like you have this chance, and it's like that's what Batman's telling people.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Like, are you going to make sad choices?
Right.
Like, are you going to be like the villain that's making sad choices? Or are you going to make good choices?
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that Batman had always hammered home with, like anytime that there was a Bwana Beast or someone else who'd shown up, Batman was always willing to give them that chance. And it's that if you're nice enough to someone, which is weird to say that Batman's nice enough to someone, that they'll come around and be the good guy.
They will. Yeah.
So
back to those DC digests. I had one, and actually I just reread it a couple of weeks ago. The one with the Wrath.
yeah,
It's like the negative Batman, right? Like the story starts out talking about basically everything that happened to Batman happened to this guy, but he didn't have the same opportunities, and so he becomes like the evil version of Batman, and the whole juxtaposition of that. And I mean, I was really young when I read that story, and it I think it really affected me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
It's a heavy story.
well, yeah. Tell you what, we'll actually end it on this, just because I think that this is kind of the perfect capstone of that. A couple years back on I think Facebook, we got challenged as like, what are your 4 like comics that meant the most to you or whatever. Like, what are your 4 comics? And there was a Spider-Man one that you were talking about that was like, here's J. Jonah Jameson, and talk about integrity in that. And
Yeah.
So I mean, not to put you on the spot, do you want to talk about any of those?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's one of them for sure. And it was an issue of Amazing Spider-Man. It was one of the John Romita Jr. issues from the '80s, and it was called. It was like What a Day for a Daydream, and they went through and they just showed, it was like 4 or 5 little, like just 3 or 4 page stories talking about some, the main characters' daydreams. And yeah, there was the one where J. Jonah Jameson shows up to work and like everybody loves him and everybody's giving him the thing that he asked for that day, and then Spider-Man shows up and he knocks him out.
Right.
But the Spider-Man one is the one that always got me, and I always think about it when especially as an artist, you deal with the idea of imposter syndrome and things like that a lot, right?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's daydream is all about his insecurities, and he goes and he helps the Avengers, and they're like, "Hey man, great job, you should be an Avenger. How about you join us?" And he's like, "What? I could be an Avenger?" And then for some reason in the dream, Captain America's shield reflects the truth. It has some kind of magic power, and so they all look at Captain America's shield and they see Spider-Man reflected in the shield, and they see Peter Parker. And they're like, "Wait, he's just some kid. You're just some kid. You can't be an Avenger. What is this?" And you're reading it going, "Yeah, but he's freaking Spider-Man."
Right.
Yeah.
But like that's the insecurity that Peter Parker carries around, and that's pretty heavy, man.
And see, and I love that it's one of those issues, and not like here's what is critically acclaimed as one of the greatest issues ever.
Right. Yeah.
But so it's really neat that you read that and take that away from it.
Like what a relatable. I mean, like what a relatable thing, like for everybody,
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. So that's super cool. But what else did you have?
Let's see. So favorite single issues.
Yeah.
Action Comics Annual by Art Adams with Batman and Superman
Yeah.
fighting the vampire. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorites. The art's so cool, and Batman with this like giant chin, and they're like both Batman and Superman are like super beefy,
Yeah, because that's before Art Adams had really kind of scaled certain things back. So Batman looked like he was leading everything with his chin.
Right. And then the vampire isn't like your standard like Eastern European vampire. She's like a hillbilly, right? Like lives with her dead parents or something. And then like you get to see like Batman goes super dark at the end, the last scene is him like telling the local cops that he needs a few minutes alone in the morgue, and he's got like a handful of steaks and a hammer.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
Oh yeah. I always love when it's still within character, but it's oh no, Batman went a little dark.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't work so much when Superman's like, hold on guys, I need to, but like with Batman it's all right, so you kind of know what you're getting. It's going to always be the steady pace. And then it's nope.
Yeah.
Man. All right. So I think we have time enough for one more.
One more.
Right? Yeah.
The Enigma.
Yeah.
By Peter Milligan and Duncan Fegredo.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the first thing that I read that I would say it was like close to indie. I mean, it was Vertigo, but it was still not tied to any of the superhero universes that I was reading, and it was just on a completely different level. It's a really surreal, cerebral book, and you get like pretty heavy into the main character's insecurities, and I want to say, you know what, I don't remember what year that came out, but I wasn't reading anything like it. And
I think it was like 88, 89.
Okay, that sounds about right. Yeah, so I was like, 11, 12, something like that. And reading something and feeling like you're reading something important.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was reading something with power, like I was getting something out of reading it,
That's cool.
It's heavy. Yeah. And that's a feeling that I mean, it's been really hard to find since. I mean, it's one of those new experience feelings, right?
Yeah.
But that book was definitely that experience for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Peter Milligan is in my opinion, one of the most underrated writers in comics.
Oh, yeah, he's great. And I was so excited when I saw Duncan Fegredo coming on the Hellboy stuff, because I love Hellboy anyway.
Mm-hmm. I loved Duncan Fegredo, like just the way that he was drawing hands in the Clerks comics or the Jay and Silent Bob, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was where I first saw him, and then I saw that he had done Vertigo stuff, so I collected all of that. So like I have this really weird. I look almost like a stalker trying to get all this Duncan Fegredo stuff, and then he ends up on Hellboy, and at first I'm like, well, it's no Mike Mignola, and then there are some things I like the way he draws that better than Mignola.
Yeah, which is almost sacrilege, but it's true.
Oh man, yeah. So, but so Peter Milligan, if if you're wanting to just kind of dip your toe in the water, like his ecstatic stuff, I think is the best representation of his work, but the most mainstream. If you don't want to go so full, because he can go way deep, way quick, and it gets weird.
He can, yeah.
So, but
his stuff on. Oh crap! Nope, I just drew a blank. Never mind. Good talk.
Just kidding.
That's awesome. I mean that's half the show is I forgot. But man, it's weird we didn't even talk about Mr. Miracle or Planetary yet this one. But we did hit on the every show somehow, some way we ended up talking about Mr. Miracle or Planetary and Tom King's Batman.
Well, I will talk about Planetary anytime. We did talk about Tom King's Batman.
Yeah. So which I guess now we've fill those quotas with me like, oh man, we missed that.
Yeah, we can't have that, can we?
Let me just insert that right here. Well, and the whole thing talking Planetary. So Planetary is like the second greatest thing ever written in comics. Yeah,
I'll go with that.
Yeah, because Watchmen, like there's so many layers and all this stuff. Like it is a full on like textbook at this point. Like it could be taught on so many levels.
Oh yeah.
But Planetary still could be taught on, but it's not written like that. It's
right.
It starts off. Warren Ellis is just having a really good time telling a real good joke of like, oh, look at me have fun with Godzilla. Look at all this.
Right.
Wait a minute, the Fantastic Four are bad guys.
Yeah, and that's it. It's all still fun.
Yeah,
like it's dark and it's heavy and it's intellectual, and it's still super fun. You're still reading through there and picking out all the sub references.
It's so good because you really need to read it a couple of times to make sure that you're getting everything.
Oh yeah, like I'd read it 3 times, and then like the 4th time, when they're talking about meeting angels and when they think they've discovered God, which it looks like Galactus, whatever.
Yeah.
They start describing what they believe the universe looks like, and you realize, oh my God, they realize that they're in a comic book. It's we're informational based, but it only progresses forward whenever we're being observed, and we're all single panes. And it's the oh my God,
right?
Yeah, it's the this is so far beyond.
Right, and you feel like the guy had to have a freaking degree in quantum theory to come up with a comic book analogy, to be able to describe a stack of comic books.
Yeah.
In that twisted away.
Yeah, like it's the oh my God. All right. Yeah. It's when I read that it's how people describe reading Maya Angelou stuff. It's like I closed it and looked out a window and was like, oh. I have been changed by the words on that page.
Oh my goodness!
So I don't think it's going to get any better than that.
No, not at all.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening to
thank you so much.
The New World Podcast. Than, thank you so much for being part of this.
Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back.
For sure.
Brad Reed of Nerdsman fame, thank you so much for putting this shindig on.
Always.
Stephanie, thanks.
Thank you.
And I'll see you all next week.
See ya.